One of the biggest surprises of this NFL season are the Indianapolis Colts, who stand alone atop the league with their 7-1 record. Daniel Jones is having a career resurgence in Indy, and while he deserves a ton of credit for his play this season, what impresses me the most when watching the Colts this year is Jonathan Taylor and this offensive line unit. I've said a few times now on this channel that a pairing of an elite running back with an elite O-line can make magic, and JT and this Colts unit have put on a clinic this year. Jonathan Taylor has a legitimate MVP case heading into Week 9, which is a huge testament to the big boys' play up front. Taylor is posting gaudy numbers this season where he ranks first in rushing yards, second in yards per game and yards per carry, and he's also number 1 in the NFL in 20-plus yard runs and number 1 in rushing touchdowns with 12 in just the first 8 games of the season. To put it simply, the man has been on an absolute tear this season, and as a former offensive lineman, the Colts O-Line needs to get shouted out for their stellar play this year. So let's dive into just how they've been carving up defensive fronts and paving the way for a special year for Jonathan Taylor. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Jonathan Taylor is leading the NFL in runs of 20 yards or more with 6 this season, but he also has 23 rushes of 10 yards or more. And this one was particularly well blocked in their first game of the year against Miami. So I wanted to start with this one. This is going to be an inside zone split run. So what that means is you're going to get, very typical zone blocking footwork where every single lineman is kind of working across the same path. But you're going to get a wham block here from the tight end. This is going to be Mo Alley Cox. He's kind of lined up in the sniffer position. He's coming to wham block 91. And with inside zone split, you typically have a higher likelihood of the play hitting backside because that cutback alley just sets up so much better, usually with that wham block and having this tackle be able to immediately work up to the second level. And that's exactly where this play ends up hitting. And again, just for clarity's sake, because of Jonathan Taylor's alignment, front side would be here to what is the left side of the center. The back side is going to be anything behind the center, so to the right of the offensive formation there, just for clarity's sake. But what I really want to call out here, 2 very key blocks. So first, you have the guard here, Matt Gonsalves. He does a phenomenal job of giving what he can to the center. So it's going to be a quick shot into the shoulder of this, this kind of shaded nose tackle. That allows the center to take over, and he's going to climb up to the second level really well. And then you have this backside guard. This is Braden Smith. He does a phenomenal job of working up to the second level and sealing off, again, that cutback lane that Jonathan Taylor utilizes. And as I let this run here, this hole is massive for Jonathan Taylor to run into. So I'm going to pause it really quickly here. Again, just watch the guard. This is Matt Gonsalves here. Watch how he gives a quick shot on the shoulder and hip to this shade, which allows the center to take over, and how he works up to the second level. There's a shot up onto number 20. And then, I'll rewind it back really quickly here. But here is then the tackle, Braden Smith. Now look at how he's working up to 25, again, to seal off what is going to be this alley that's going to help be formed by this wham block from Mo Alley Cox. Up to 25, and he turns inside. Look at this alley that Jonathan Taylor has to run into. This is clinic teaching tape. You can't really block it much better than this. And he just is able to go up, gets up 13 yards, picks up a first down on 1st and 10. When you're able to consistently stay in front of the sticks, I've said it a bunch on some of the other film breakdowns I've done, that is vital for an offense to be able to be efficient and effective, and the Colts are humming on all cylinders because of plays like this. Moving to a clip now from the Rams game. This one showcases some special vision and patience that Jonathan Taylor puts on display on this one. Again, a similar inside zone type of play where everyone is going to be blocking, kind of down and to the left. Here, you get some really good displacement here on this, 2 technique with this double team between the center and the guard. Tyler Warren is also going to be coming from off screen here and blocking kind of the nickel corner as well. But this is almost Le'Veon Bell-esque what Jonathan Taylor does here. So I'll try to explain it all. So, upon receiving the handoff, and again, this is not in reality how running backs are able to perceive everything. keyboard warriors or guys who are watching film can try to break it down at this level, but it's obviously easy for me to do with a clicker on this end than with the pads on game speed. But first anticipation, you might be thinking, okay, we want to maybe press this backside A gap as you see kind of this lane opening up. Play side A is probably going to be a little bit tougher with this nose tackle here. I believe this is Puna forward, already kind of shading over that way and fighting cross face across the center. So that's likely where Jonathan Taylor is initially thinking. Looks to try to press it that way. And as he gets here, I can imagine, and I'm assuming, again, that he's seeing this is a scrape. This guy is probably going to insert into the hole. This probably gets stuffed for very little gain. And what happens next here, the only other running back that comes to mind to me is Le'Veon Bell, just with the patience and the vision to be able to see, and then the speed and talent to be able to burst to the outside here is really, really special. So holds his feet, kind of hops for a second, cuts all the way to the outside, and is able to pick up 12 yards on 1st and 10 deep into the red zone. Now they're inside the 10-yard line. This was the first play of the second quarter. So again, want to run it in its entirety. The patience and vision and burst are ridiculous to spring all the way outside, break the contain, get an explosive run there on 1st down against a very, very good and young Rams defense. I couldn't go too long without showcasing Quentin Nelson, one of the best guards in the NFL for multiple seasons now. This is going to be a toss play, really, really well designed by Shane Steichen and them in Indianapolis. Tyler Warren is lined up here at fullback, and they're going to fake the handoff to him, which kind of holds particularly this linebacker, which is critical because you're getting Quentin Nelson and this tight end that's going to come out in motion are both going to be pulling around. It's going to be a toss play out to Jonathan Taylor. And when you can get a guy as big as Quentin Nelson, and let me go ahead and highlight it just so that everybody can see exactly who it is. You're also going to get, down block here, cut block kind of from this center to take the man. It's occupying Quentin Nelson so that he can get out in space. But when you can get a guy this size moving like this into space, so there's a tight end motion. Again, you're getting down block, cut block, puller, down block, and you're going to be out the gate with Jonathan Taylor. Here's the fake from Tyler Warren. And again, look what it does in particular to this linebacker, number 45, as it kind of pulls him. Now he realizes it's a toss. It's too late. There's no way he's going to be able to make the play, and just going to let this one run. Look at Quentin Nelson, big man, 300-pounder in space. Running, climbs, locks onto 52, brings him down the field. We're going out of bounds. That is a luxury to be able to have a guy that size, that agile, to be able to lead the way for a guy like Jonathan Taylor. And again, he hasn't gotten touched yet. He goes the whole run basically before contact. 16-yard run there in this game against the Raiders. It is truly, truly a luxury. I can't say it enough to have not just a line as talented as the Colts are this year, but to have a guy and a leader like Quentin Nelson who is as special of a player as he is. Here's another outside run, pin and pull type play. Again, you really can't get it as well blocked as the Colts are doing here, but B, I would say also a prime look to run this type of play against. The Cardinals do a lot of this, kind of 3 safety look here. So you can see they've got 3 safeties deep. They've also got the line kind of shaded away from where Jonathan Taylor is going to be running. Again, this is going to be a sweep out to the left. With Quentin Nelson once again leading the way. You do have this kind of fly motion that pulls this first safety down into the box with this motion. So that, again, effectively eliminates a guy that could be a potential tackler, also away from the strength of the play. So, again, a great look to run it against. But just how well blocked this is, this is just perfect. Reach blocked, sealed. Pittman is working up to the corner. And you've got big Quentin Nelson running up on a safety. That is not a matchup that any defensive back wants any type of smoke with. And then as this continues to play out, no contact. There's Quentin Nelson up on the safety. Jalen Thompson, and again, runs him out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Was nearly a touchdown. But again, I'll run it all the way through. But you really, like I said, can't block this any more picture perfectly for the Colts. This O-line is fantastic right now, and they are fueling this offense. And when it all comes together, you have these magic runs that Jonathan Taylor has put up multiple times this season. This one is one of my favorites. It's from their first game against the Titans, and I love it because it is just as old school smash mouth football as you typically see in the NFL these days. Heavy personnel, double tight end. Tyler Warren is lined up at fullback. And I mean, it is just simple gap scheme. You've got 1-for-1, 1-for-1, and some combination of the left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle for these 4 defensive players. Now, you're probably initially thinking, man block, and then a double team here working to this backer. But, sometimes you've got stunts and scrapes, but, that's kind of the main idea behind it. And you're going to get a one-on-one collision with this linebacker and Tyler Warren in the hole that is violent. And then that springs Jonathan Taylor, and then that's when the talent takes over. The ridiculous contact balance, the shiftiness, the speed, and it's all on display. So I'm going to let it, fully run here. It's blocked really well. You do get this kind of, slanting by this DN trying to cross face on 79. He does a great job of kind of bringing him into this wash. They're also kind of slanting on the inside as well. So you just get kind of this big pile here on this side of the O-line. Molly Cox does a great job of sealing off this D-end. And then again, like I said, you're going to get that violent collision with Tyler Warren right there in the hole. And that is a big alley for Jonathan Taylor to run into. And now, again, the talent, the special, the shifty, puts a move on the safety, spins off of the other safety, another broken tackle. L'Jarius Sneed can't get to him, and that is a nearly 50-yard rushing touchdown. Again, like I said, when it all comes together, the great blocking plus the ridiculous open field talent that Jonathan Taylor possesses, this Colts team is genuinely going to be insanely hard to stop, which is wild to say. With all the question marks that they had coming into this season around the quarterback position, they might be the most explosive offense, at least the most explosive run game in the NFL right now. This next one is pretty much all JT. This is a trap kind of play from an interesting look where the trap block is actually going to be coming from Tyler Warren on this 2-eye here. He's not really able to get there. I mean, this is a really tough block to be able to ask a guy. You're going to get, Quentin Nelson in the right tackle working out on a double team here, and the center working back as well. And Tyler Warren just isn't able to get there. But Jonathan Taylor said, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm too shifty. My contact balance is too good, and he's able to spring what honestly should be a TFL into a nearly 70-yard run. I mean, this is just insanity to see. Again, that is the 2-eye is in his face. He doesn't, even fully have the handoff yet. That's just such a tough block for any player to make. Even a guy as special as Tyler Warren has been this year. That's just a really, really tough ask to be able to get to a 2-eye like that. But again, Jonathan Taylor shifts him, able to kind of get in through that crease, breaks 2 more tackles there. And if it's not for a great pursuit from Talanoa Hufanga, this is a massive touchdown. This last one I'm going to show here was from their last game against Tennessee, an 80-yard touchdown. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen already where he tips-toes the sideline. But really want to walk through this from a blocking perspective first. Again, it's another pin and pull type of outside run with this sweep motion, but you get 2 pullers this time. It's going to be both Quentin Nelson and center Tanner Bortolini, which is, again, always pretty rare to see centers. It's become a little bit more common, over the last few years, but, historically only guys like Jason Kelce really were snapping the ball and pulling, so to see him be able to do this at a high level is really, really special to see, and fun for a guy like me as a former center. But again, as I'll let this run here, you're going to get this sweep motion, and this is critical because one of the hardest blocks on this type of play is, again, this backside tackle. This is 72 Braden Smith again, and he's going to have to get all the way up to this backer who's got him beat with a lot of leverage and is faster than him. But look at what this jet motion does at just bumping him ever so slightly to aid in this block. So as the sweep comes across, you'll see he takes a couple of steps there. That helps a ton with Braden Smith being able to get downhill and cut him off and help create this lane for Jonathan Taylor. But I'll pause it really quickly here. Mo Alley-Cox does a great job of maintaining inside leverage, kind of washing this guy to the outside. You're going to get a down block here from 79. 71 on a reach block. Braden Smith, like I said, 72 on this cutoff block. And then Quentin Nelson coming around for 1. Tanner Bortolini coming around for number 2. And then you just have Jonathan Taylor out. And he's running on DBs at that point, and that's never an easy matchup for any defensive back. And you're going to see exactly why. So, again, as I freeze it one more time here, great job by Braden Smith getting up. Again, not an easy block at all for a tackle to be able to make on a backside of a play like this, because this guy can always scrape across and can potentially, finish this play off. So, not only to get there, but to also even get his helmet cross face is really impressive there. Quentin Nelson, I mean, is about to throw this guy out the club. This guy stands no chance at meeting Quentin in the hole. You still have the center coming around for this backer who's scraping over top here. And this is, again, blocked beautifully by the Indianapolis Colts. And then you get Jonathan Taylor up on these defensive backs and toes the sideline. I don't know how he was able to stay in, and no one can catch him. 80-yard touchdown. I mean, I know he's probably not going to win the MVP award, because I don't know what it would take at this point for a running back to win the award. If a guy like Saquon couldn't win it last year, it's going to be borderline impossible. But he deserves to be talked about for MVP. He's going to be a front runner for Offensive Player of the Year because of that, because that's typically how it goes. Whoever the best non-quarterback is usually is going to get, Offensive Player of the Year at this point. But, I mean, this is just special stuff all around. They're having a really special season in Indianapolis. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. If they can kind of maintain this momentum all the way through the back half of the season and really look to make a deep playoff run, because this team is very talented on offense and they're getting healthier on defense. The Colts can potentially be a scary matchup in the playoffs in the AFC. That is going to do it for this film breakdown. If you think Jonathan Taylor is an MVP candidate, or if you have a different guy who you think is not being talked about enough for MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I'm going to continue to bring more film breakdowns like this as we're getting closer towards later in the year. The next one I'm kind of planning on working on is going to be like a mid-season award type of video with my picks for MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Rookies of the Year, etc. Also, if you like long-form writing, think kind of scouting reports, mock drafts, my Substack is going to be in the description as well. Please consider subscribing to that newsletter. I appreciate all the support as always, and I'm out. Peace.